Thank you, Resh. No more room for error for Manchester City. Pep has said so himself. 10 points the gap to Arsenal now, and tonight is a night when they have to win. But beware, resurgent West Ham get something here, and Nuno's team are out of the drop zone. They've never beaten Manchester City in the Premier League here at London Stadium. What a time it would be to end that jinx. You can't help but feel this could be the night the title pendulum swings heavily towards North London. What have you got, Manchester City? Catch Arsenal if you can. What do they have, I wonder, tonight, Dean Ashton? Is it still alive for them if they win?
Yes, and they have been relentless over the years that Pep Guardiola has been in charge, and he will not let them rest. He will not let them drop their heads. It's about continuing to push, keep the pressure up, and the focus will very much be on this evening. And also, there's probably a little bit of fire in the belly of the players after what happened in midweek.
Well, interestingly, the Manchester City players in their change kit tonight of all black have very much made a point of going over to the City fans before the game, and reciprocal applause exchanged between the support and the team on the field. Manchester City know they face a real fight to overhaul Arsenal in the title race, but no doubt they are up for that fight. Pep Guardiola not on the touchline this evening. He is serving the start of a two-match touchline ban. He'll miss tonight, and also the FA Cup quarter-final against Liverpool. The ban doesn't apply to the League Cup final against Arsenal, live on Talk Sport next weekend. But for City tonight, all about closing the gap as Pep watches on from the stands. And for West Ham United, all about escaping the Premier League relegation zone. They have Hermansen in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Disasi, Todibo and Diouf at the back. Souček and Fernandes holding, Bowen, Pablo and Castellanos up front. And for Manchester City, the goalkeeper away to the right in green is Donnarumma, Nunes, Kusanov, Guehi and Aït-Nouri. Rodri holding, Semenyo, Silva, O'Reilly behind Marmoush and Haaland up front. The bubbles are blowing here at London Stadium, which is mostly full. The floodlights are on. You can see the glare, the red glare of the Orbit Tower in the distance here in the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. And a genuinely important game at both ends of the table is off and underway, live here on Talk Sport. Manchester City from right to left in the first half towards the Bobby Moore end of the ground, and West Ham United in their claret shirts, white shorts and white socks from left to right. Manchester City all in black tonight. An early touch at the heart of the defence for Kusanov, and he'll shepherd the ball over to the right full-back position. Nunes scoops it long, header into touch by Mavropanos, out of play for a Manchester City throw. A long way from our commentary position on the far side of the field. Of course, there's the old running track between the edge of the stands and the pitch here, which is now a claret and blue carpet. Manchester City switch play out to the near side and Aït-Nouri. So at the start of the night, 10 points behind Arsenal in the race for the title. Yes, with 2 games in hand, but as I say, you can't help but feel that Arsenal really have the momentum now after that late victory over Everton in the 5:30 kickoff. Arsenal 2, Everton 0 it finished. Gyökeres and 16-year-old Max Daumann with the goals. Daumann now the Premier League and Arsenal's youngest ever goal scorer. We are just under 90 seconds in. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0. Throw upfield by Wan-Bissaka, headed away by Aït-Nouri for Manchester City, and now Nunes takes up possession just outside the centre circle, away on the far side, the right. Haaland and Marmoush gravitating slowly towards the edge of the penalty area, but not at any great pace. Manchester City just popping it about in the early stages, Dean Ashton.
Yeah, I just wanted to see exactly how West Ham would set up with that back five. It's Mavropanos that is in the middle of Disasi, Todibo. Just wonder whether it would be Disasi that would play in the middle against Haaland more than any of the other two. And they haven't got an extra player in midfield. Souček and Fernandes are going to have to get through a lot of work against Manchester City's 3.
Axel Disasi, who's been key to West Ham's recent revival. O'Reilly for Manchester City. A lot of criticism for his performance at left back on Wednesday night, playing in midfield this evening. Aït-Nouri back at left back for Manchester City today, and here he is in a forward position, level with the edge of the penalty area. 0-0 in the early stages. Rodri turns. Rodri with that authoritative presence in the middle of midfield. I can see Pep Lijnders on the edge of the technical area for Manchester City tonight, with Pep Guardiola watching on from the stands, and to his right is Nuno Espirito Santo.
And he's just down there, Pep Guardiola, just below us, so he's got the first taste of what it's like to watch from this kind of distance here at the London Stadium.
We're a little bit of away from the edge of the pitch, aren't we? But no complaints. Always a privilege to be on duty for TalkSport, especially a game of this importance at both ends of the Premier League. Aït-Nouri with the red boots on, finding Rodri, left-hand edge of the penalty area, lunging in with the challenges to Debo. He got a faint touch on the ball, and Manchester City have a corner away to our left, 0-0, and really, City have had almost all the ball so far, Dean.
They have, and we would have expected that, especially with the way Nuno has set the team up. But Rodri just starting to show signs that he's really shrugging off that long-term injury that he had, and a few little injuries that came afterwards, starting to look sharper with every game.
Plenty forward in the black shirts of Manchester City, everybody back in the claret of West Ham. Corner drifted in by Marmoush to the near post and headed behind by Diouf, and that'll be another corner to Manchester City, a second in quick succession at the Bobby Moore end away to the left. Not a great atmosphere so far tonight at London Stadium. Lively pre-match, yes, but certainly the noise hasn't translated into the opening 4 minutes or so.
They haven't touched the ball.
Haven't got near it yet. In by Marmoush, right-footed, header away by Souček at the near post, drops the edge of the D, where it's scooped wide left by Bernardo Silva to Marmoush again. He looks up, drills the ball into the near post, header away by Wan-Bissaka. Drops down into the middle of midfield, and Nunes. Remember, Manchester City with this extraordinary record in the Premier League against West Ham. Good work by Aït-Nouri, surging into the box now, close to the edge of the 6-yard box, tries a shot right-footed, he slipped at the vital moment. Fernandes gets across for West Ham, who are just about clinging on here as Fernandes concedes a corner, but Manchester City look like they're capable of threatening at any time.
Yeah, they've really started with that momentum. Aït-Nouri, that's where he's at his best. He's where he's kind of freewheeling from that left-back position, dribbling past Bowen. Bowen did well to get back, though.
The picture for Manchester City is clear. They really have to win. Corner on the near side, again whipped in with pace by Marmoush. Header away by Souček on the edge of the 6-yard area. It drops to Kusanov, who plays it back to the captain, the diminutive Bernardo Silva. Kusanov back to Bernardo Silva again, square to Rodri, 25 yards out, chipped in right by Rodri, header away by the former Arsenal man Mavropanos, and it's like an attack v defence drill in these early stages here. Already a little bit of restlessness among the home support, but West Ham know that any positive result takes them out of the Premier League relegation zone, at least for 24 hours or so.
Yeah, and you can just sense West Ham players do not want to take a risk in terms of just stepping out of that defensive position that they've all clearly got and been working on, just trying to keep nice and compact, allow City to have plenty of easy possession at the moment, no real pressure on the ball.
And Kusanov and Guéhi both playing midway inside the West Ham half at the moment as they exchange a couple of neat passes on the far side. The surface is not in question, tremendous surface here at London Stadium, and City look slick in these early stages, but the score still 0-0. 92% of the possession so far in the game, and Pep Guardiola's already on the phone from his position in the stands. I'm sure he's well aware of what happened at the Emirates Stadium earlier. Arsenal 2, Everton 0. So Arsenal's lead at the start of this game, 10 points. Of course, at the moment it's down to 9, but Manchester City need wins.
Is he asking, is that a record? Is he? That's all he's asking for? Another Premier League record that he's broken, maybe?
Well, I tell you what, if they come back to win this Premier League title, they'll deserve all the plaudits in the world. Header away by Guéhi on the halfway line for Manchester City. West Ham sitting off Manchester City. Well, that would be an understatement to say that in the first 7 minutes. Passive would be an understatement, but they've got effectively a 5-4-1 behind the ball here, with Castellanos furthest forward, and Diouf thought he'd won it back just inside Manchester City territory, but handball given, I think, there against Diouf, Dean.
Yeah, and I think it will be frustrating for the West Ham supporters to watch just how easy the possession has been so far. But they're in a relegation battle. This isn't a time to try and play terrific, exciting football. It isn't. If you play this way and get a 0-0, that is absolutely brilliant. It won't be easy to watch for the supporters, but it'll be brilliant for the team. I think what they would want to see is a little bit more quality when they do win possession.
Semenyo winning the ball high up the pitch. It's steered upfield by Disasi for West Ham, on loan from Chelsea only as far as Rodri, who shuffles it wide right to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva accelerating into the penalty area, knocks it out wide. Nunes with the looping cross, it's overhit. Wan-Bissaka watches it drop over his shoulder. It'll roll towards the near side touchline. Wan-Bissaka steers the ball clear towards halfway. Pep Lijnders, the Manchester City assistant coach, applauds, and Manchester City have it again, playing from right to left in the first half. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0, and I think a second touch of the night so far for Donnarumma, all in green away to the right hand side. But for all of their possession, they haven't tested Hermansen yet. Mads Hermansen, who's made a very encouraging return actually to Premier League football for West Ham.
He has. You kind of thought he was very much out in the cold, but given that opportunity and done well actually. Obviously fantastic with the ball at his feet as well, to be able to kind of play forwards quickly into the attackers to counter-attack as well. But of course they're sat off, but it's not easy when City have started the way they have. Every pass is crisp and into the feet of a teammate. The movement's excellent. It's not easy just to get at Manchester City.
There's a real purpose about Manchester City tonight, isn't there? We did wonder what the reaction might be in the dressing room to those two late Arsenal goals, but Manchester City going about their business very diligently so far tonight, though they're yet to score. Bernardo Silva crosses the halfway line, nudges the ball left to the tall and slender O'Reilly. Back in field to Semenyo. Semenyo through the middle. Haaland making a run left-hand edge of the penalty area. Haaland drills it in, and it's turned behind by Todibo, and Manchester City have their fourth corner inside the first 9.5 minutes.
And that's what they're so good at, Manchester City, is playing with quality and possession, just waiting for someone to switch off or step out, as Souček did there. The gap was there for Semenyo, who played Haaland through. He just tried to play it across. Good covering from Todibo, but first, little opening for City.
Another corner that will be taken right-footed and in-swinging by Omar Marmoush. The Egyptian puts one arm up into the air. Here's the delivery, right-footed, high to the back post. Goalkeeper rooted to his line. Header away by Wan-Bissaka. Twisting and turning on the right edge of the area is Bernardo Silva. Rodri played a pass towards Semenyo, and then he picks up Bernardo Silva with a deep cross. Headed away by West Ham. Bowen can't pick up the loose ball. Todibo beaten to it by Haaland, who rattles the ball against the Frenchman's shins, and Bowen then wins a throw at the very least for West Ham. There's actually a yellow card here for Marmoush for deliberate handball, as Bowen fed the ball up the right-hand touchline, and Marmoush is booked.
Yeah, Bowen straight away felt as if Marmoush did that on purpose, and he very much did. Just sticking his arm out as if he was going to clothesline a wrestler, and deserved that yellow. Silly, really, to be honest. It's not as if Castellanos was completely free. There's three Manchester City defenders beyond him after that, but there's a couple of brilliant headers from Thomas Souček in amongst that defensive action. Again, he's another one that's kind of had a big resurgence under Nuno in that midfield area.
Former West Ham striker Dean Ashton with us tonight on Talk Sport. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Another full-time score from the evening kickoffs in the Premier League. Early today it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, and Sunderland 0, Brighton 1. More live football from us on Monday night as we bring you Brentford against Wolves live and exclusive. Portsmouth against Derby, big game at both ends of the Championship table, will be on Talk Sport 2 on Monday night. And of course, before that, tomorrow we go around the grounds for all the goals as they go in from the big games involving the likes of Spurs and Leeds and Nottingham Forest, all in action tomorrow in the Premier League. Sam Matterface and the team with all of the action for you from 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. It's a great time in the season, this. It feels like every game matters, and they certainly do here on Talk Sport. Manchester City looking very confident in these early stages, but it is still 0-0 at London Stadium.
And I think, again, it is about patience for both teams. It's about patience for City, knowing that this is what they're so good at, and that the West Ham player will switch off and they can take advantage. And for West Ham, it's the ultimate test of concentration and communication between you as players.
Oh, lovely football, Manchester City. Haaland's lay off to Semenyo, and he nearly played the reverse ball into the path of Marmoush. Very neat interplay involving Guehi and Rodri in the build-up to that. But now West Ham counter. Bowen over the halfway line. Rolls the ball wide via deflection out to the near side, and Wan-Bissaka wearing gloves. He takes on Aït-Nouri, goes on the outside, two in the middle, Castellanos and Pablo, but Aït-Nouri gets back to beat Wan-Bissaka to the ball before he can cross, and now it's Manchester City's turn to flood forward on the break. They don't exactly flood forward now that Semenyo has reduced the attack to walking pace. He's gone backwards to Nunes, and Manchester City happy just to recycle possession again. 0-0.
Erling Haaland wasn't happy there. The turnover of possession, he just turned head down, sprinted beyond Mavropanos, and Semenyo just needed to play that over the top. There's so much space there. Decided to turn back. Haaland straight away went over and just said, look, that is where I'm absolutely at my best. Just put me through.
11 goals in 7 in the Premier League against West Ham. Can he add to that tally tonight on a relatively chilly night here in East London, though not too cold? One of our team has brought a portable heater, and it isn't me.
And it isn't me.
I wonder who that leaves us with then. Look, I get it.
As long as it's shared, we can feel that coming through.
It's not on just yet. Rodri slides in to hook the ball over the halfway line for Manchester City. Now Marmoush takes up possession in a central area, looks for Semenyo further forward. Good work by Souček again, as Dean has said a couple of times. Another important intervention by Souček in the middle of midfield. And now Diouf surging over the halfway line. One-on-one with Matheus Nunes. He's been held up by Nunes, so has to go backwards to Mateus Fernandes, and West Ham keep possession now. Ripple of applause from the home support here as we watch from our lofty perch high up in the West Stand behind the two dugouts and the vast technical areas. Wan-Bissaka's got it on the halfway line, but Souček has been one of West Ham's key men in this opening 15 minutes in terms of protecting the goalkeeper Hermansen.
Yeah, just making sure again, being in the right position just to intercept is key, but then having the quality to try and play. Fernandes in particular has been that player for West Ham. He's really started to have a big influence on the tempo of West Ham's play, and having Hermansen be so good with his feet gives you that extra man just to relieve the pressure for a few more moments.
Manchester City quickly win it back with ease, and here is Kusanov on the halfway line. Little 1-2 with Rodri. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Spurs against Liverpool live tomorrow. Search Now Sports. Manchester City out on the right hand side with Semenyo. Semenyo twists and turns. He can pop it back here maybe to Nunes. Rodri takes over instead. Rodri will roll the ball out to the near side of the field. The left wing position in Aït-Nouri. Forward to Bernardo Silva. Back to Guehi. A little ponderous from Manchester City momentarily as the West Ham fans waving the red placards, the red cards all around London Stadium here. Of course, there's plenty of dissatisfaction with the ownership, Dean Ashton.
There still is. It's probably the biggest presence of that red placard that I think I've seen at a game since I've come to.
Yep, all around the stadium, isn't it?
3 or 4 in recent months.
Battling relegation was not what this stadium was supposed to deliver for West Ham United. Always get the sense that it lacks that atmospheric feel that a football stadium should, and of course it's far removed from the intimate confines of Upton Park as it was. We're in the 17th minute. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0. Game of cat and mouse here at the moment. It's Manchester City in possession with Rodri, square to O'Reilly, about 25 yards out. West Ham with almost everybody bar Castellanos behind the ball now. Castellanos the front man. Little flick by Aït-Nouri, and Manchester City are going to need all the refinement in their play to break through West Ham here. Aït-Nouri, a former Wolves man, out on the near side of the field, the left back. And now Gehi about 30 yards out, rolls it out to the left-hand side. Nico O'Reilly with the cross. That cannons off to Debo, and it's corner number 5 for Manchester City already. This is TalkSport.
Yeah, the quality from Manchester City is of a very high level. West Ham are finding it very difficult to win that ball back at the moment. They're going to just have to accept a bit of pressure, I think, and just hope that you can keep out those big chances for Manchester City. So often we watch them and think, well, why didn't they cross it there? Well, they're waiting. This is the way they play to find that opening.
2 arms into the air from Marmoush. Here's the delivery, fizzed into the near post. Poor, headed away by the first man, the West Ham captain, Bowen. West Ham then sit off Manchester City. Nuno watching on with his arms folded on the near side touchline. Scampering forward is Bernardo Silva, away from 2 in Claret. Wide left on the inside left is Marmoush, and then it's nudged away by Souček sliding in. West Ham have it back, and there's a fleeting chance of a counter-attack here. Pablo out on the right, beaten to it by Spaniard Rodri, and it's out of play for a West Ham throw right in front of their dugout.
And again, it's slightly destroying watching how easy it is for Manchester City to get to your penalty area if you're a West Ham player, and how difficult it is just to even get into their half at the moment. But you've got to be positive still. You've got to keep at it. Again, reiterate, they are in a relegation battle. Style of football is irrelevant.
And they definitely take a point tonight, even if they only came out of the relegation zone for 24 hours or so.
Absolutely. It's about getting points when the others certainly don't expect you to. That hurts more than anything else when you're in a relegation battle.
The Manchester City Premier League record at London Stadium: played 9, won 7, drawn 2, lost none, scored 28, conceded 6. They would definitely take a point tonight, West Ham. They're competing well so far. A clash of styles, yes, but as Dean Ashton was saying, it really doesn't matter at this stage for West Ham. Nuno's certainly got them organised in recent weeks. And Marmoush beaten to it by Mavropanos on halfway. What a penalty that was from Mavropanos on Monday night in the FA Cup against Brentford.
Yeah, magnificent penalties from West Ham players, and one absolutely ridiculous one from Ouattara.
The infamous Panenka. Out on the left-hand side for Manchester City is Rodri. All in black tonight, Manchester City. O'Reilly to Kusanov in the centre circle, number 45. Now Gehi, the former Crystal Palace man, just trots over halfway at no great pace. West Ham again with 2 banks of players in front of Manchester City. Out on the left-hand side is Aït-Nouri, infield to Rodri. Rodri looks to Marmoush, edge of the penalty area, does brilliantly to hold it up against Fernandes. Almost spun him completely, but was fouled, and Manchester City have a free kick within shooting range here.
Yeah, it was excellent from Marmoush. It was the touch. The first touch was so good, just to twist away from Fernandes, who had his arms round his neck. And Michael Oliver was right there. Was always going to give that, and it's a dangerous position. Marmoush straight away has tried to take control of this.
Yet to score a Premier League goal away from home, Omar Marmoush, in his Manchester City career. Semenyo's been in excellent form, we know, since signing, but he's going to leave it to Marmoush here. There are Manchester City players who've come forward, so a cross into the box is certainly more than possible, but surely from this angle, left edge of the penalty area, about 25 yards out, he's going to go for goal. There are 4 in the wall, including 1 player lying behind the wall for West Ham here. 0-0. Marmoush curls it right-footed, and he's drilled it wide. Seemed to go through the edge of the wall and bounce behind harmlessly in the end for a goal kick, and Hermansen has not had a save to make yet.
No, that was a miscue for sure. Trying to just really whip that up and over the wall, but still he's just dragged across it. He's missed the wall and put it horribly wide in the end. Marmoush, a shake of the head.
West Ham now trying to play the ball out from the back to Debo, rolls it forward to Wan-Bissaka. This is risky. O'Reilly nearly got the touch for Manchester City. Header on by Gehi towards the edge of the box, cleared by Souček for West Ham. Now Bernardo Silva juggling the ball back to Kusanov. We'll go to the Six Nations in just a moment. France against England. In fact, let's go there now. TalkSport's Alfie Reynolds.
Well, we've played 10 minutes. France 7, England 5. Brilliant start to the game and a try for both sides. Firstly, Louis Biel-Biarré crossing for the French, and the English response, Tom Roebuck going over. It's France 7, England 5.
Thanks, Alfie. A torrid Six Nations campaign for England. But Nuno Espirito Santo, even if it hasn't been high on entertainment, will be very pleased with the first quarter of this game, you'd have to say, Dean Ashton.
He'll be delighted with the lack of action that his goalkeepers had. So far, the use of that back three has done the job with Souček and Fernandes in front. Every player at the moment doing their job. But it's just a small part of the game, because City are just waiting for one little opening. That's all they're waiting for, is one person to switch off, and they will take advantage. They usually do.
Well, they look like they've got a plan tonight, West Ham United, as they have done for the most part under Nuno. Certainly wasn't that way, or didn't look that way, under Graham Potter. Feels a long time ago now, his reign at West Ham. Todibo, midway inside his own half, square ball to the giant Mavropanos, and now Disasi, number 4, out to the left wing back position, and Diouf shuffles the ball in field to Mateus Fernandes. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0 is the latest score here, live on TalkSport. We've got more European football for you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. Those second-legged ties in the Champions League and the Europa League for you, as Castellanos wins the ball back for West Ham, but there's a foul by Wan-Bissaka, sliding in on Haaland, actually very close to the referee, and Michael Oliver gives Manchester City a free kick.
Yeah, heavy touch from Wan-Bissaka. He just went in a little heavy on Haaland. He did get a tiny touch to start with, but then Haaland controlled away. He just carried on through Haaland's left ankle.
And next weekend, by the way, on TalkSport, we'll bring you the League Cup final, and Manchester City's next domestic game, which is against Arsenal, of course, at Wembley. Arsenal, at the moment, 9 points clear in the title race, with the score 0-0 here. Bowen shuffles it forward. Mateus Fernandes, early ball down the middle. Pablo after it. Good work by Kusanov to shepherd it back to Donnarumma, who was a little slow to retrieve it. Heavy ball to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva keeps his composure, as is always the case, the unflappable Bernardo Silva, and it'll be hammered forward up high into the sky by Kusanov. Not a great clearance. Wan-Bissaka lets it drift over his head, but is there to win it back for West Ham. Near side the right, midway into the Manchester City half, and he'll go back to Todibo.
Yeah, don't think you've got a chance there with Kusanov. You think you have, but he is rapid. He is super quick. Here's Kusanov. So it's a great ball from Fernandes, good run from Pablo, but just really good acceleration from Kusanov.
I just wonder, 25 minutes in, 0-0, West Ham fans around the stadium in their claret and blue shirts starting to believe maybe tonight. Here is Pablo, midway inside opposition territory. Good ball out to the left, and Diouf. Castellanos in the middle. Diouf to the edge of the box. He's still going here, Diouf. He got beyond Rodri, but his back was to the ball, and Manchester City will shuffle it clear. Nunes has darted beyond Diouf up towards halfway, but Diouf has won it back, and now he surges forward again on the far side. Early ball in, cleared away by Kusanov on the volley. Semenyo brings it down for Manchester City, who, remember, Pep Guardiola has said they really must win tonight. Mavropanos slides in, out of play for a throw. West Ham are battling hard.
Yeah, brilliant intensity from West Ham, out of possession when they need to. First off, Diouf winning that ball back, then Mavropanos. But Diouf has got to do better. With very little what they've had, West Ham. He had plenty of time to look up and get that cross into the area, and didn't beat Kusanov, the first man. It's disappointing.
In the big game in Scotland tonight, it's Kilmarnock 1, Hearts 0. The gap between Hearts and Celtic just 2 points at the top of the Scottish Premiership at the moment. 0-0 here. Manchester City much further back in the race for the title as it stands. Rodri suddenly darts up the middle towards the edge of the D, poking it through to Marmoush. Marmoush's touch a little heavy, smuggled away by Mavropanos just about, only as far as Aït-Nouri. Lots of time to deliver the cross up towards Haaland, who nods it down and wide. He had two claret shirts around him, Diouf and Disasi, high fives between those two, but I can't believe the amount of space Aït-Nouri had to deliver that.
Yeah. But also sometimes you just don't expect it, because you expect him to turn back and play and recycle it. But it was a really good ball into the back post. These are so difficult when you think the defender in front of you is going to head it, which Haaland thinks Disasi's going to head it, and then he misses it, your time to react is so small, and he couldn't quite get the flight of that as it came over the top of Disasi's head. So difficult, those to read.
And those are the thoughts of Dean Ashton here on Talk Sport at a mostly full London Stadium as we head towards the half-hour mark, and we're still yet to see a clear-cut chance in the game. Nico O'Reilly for Manchester City, 30 yards out, and can't get beyond Mavropanos, who's in there with a strong challenge again. Disasi likewise on O'Reilly, and Pablo wriggles away from the young Englishman, pops it back to Juve in a little bit of a tight spot, turns away from O'Reilly and then rolls it up to the halfway line. Bowen sliding in for West Ham United, battling as West Ham fans love them to do, with great fervour, great gusto here. Bowen's gone down on the far side of the field. Play continues, and as well it might, it's not a head injury. Rodri spraying the ball wide left. Marmoush is there, corner of the penalty area. Bowen slowly trudges up to his feet. It hasn't really hurt West Ham, that, because Manchester City have had to go back to the halfway line.
No, but it's always a worry, isn't it? When he goes down, he did brilliantly to slide in and win that. Was he trodden on in the process? I think it's more of that than anything too serious for Jarrod Bowen.
And we know that West Ham are without Crysencio Somerville, their key player of recent matches tonight. They don't want to lose their captain. Aït-Nouri's delivery blocked by Wan-Bissaka in the West Ham right back position near side of the field, and out of play for a throw to Manchester City. Aït-Nouri gets it back from Guehi, rolls the ball square in infield to Bernardo Silva. Now Rodri over the halfway line. Rodri's ball to the feet of Haaland. It may not be a sort of chance a minute kind of game, but it's certainly fascinating to watch the way that the two teams have set up, as Manchester City drive forward with Semenyo. Reverse ball down the inside right, has too much for Marmoush, and he's offside anyway. Free kick to West Ham.
Yeah, he's trying to be that threat in behind, isn't he, Marmoush, but cannot time his run at the moment. It's just a couple of times, as we just see on our monitor in front of us, just Kusanov actually stands on Bowen's calf there as he goes through on the challenge. But yeah, just struggling a little bit, City, to really create anything of particular note so far. But it's almost sort of the Manchester City of old, where they really do keep good possession, and you know, depending on your preferences, can either feel like a difficult watch or an impressive one.
And it's West Ham 0, Manchester City 0 on Talk Sport, live from London Stadium with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. And Hermanson in light green has gone across to take the free kick on the far side in the left back position, takes his time with it as well. The goalkeeper, who is now playing for the 6th straight game in the Premier League, hammers it high upfield into the dark night sky. Header away by Rodri. The ball bounces down to Todibo, whose downward header is straight to Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri nearly running into trouble, poking it back to Donnarumma, away from Bowen and Wan-Bissaka. West Ham, when they do press, it's working quite effectively, actually. The few times that they have done in the course of the game. Mavropanos and Juve half win it back. Loose ball squeezes through to Semenyo, though, and now Nico O'Reilly down the middle for Manchester City. Semenyo floats the ball wide left. Marmoush on the attack, looks wide for Bernardo Silva on the overlap. Bernardo Silva to chip in the cross. Oh, he's chipped it all the way in. It's over Hermanson and into the back of the net. Did he mean it? Well, Bernardo Silva won't care all that much. The captain has scored a beautifully flighted goal, looped over the top of the keeper, and it's West Ham 0, Manchester City 1, just like that.
Well, if he means it, he's a genius. The way he just sizes up the cross, as if he's going to play it to Haaland, and then just digs his foot underneath the ball like he's shoving a trowel into the soil, and up and over Hermanson it goes. I really hope he means it, because it's stunning. It does look as if he has a look towards that far corner, and it's just the way he stabs it over the top of Hermanson into that far corner. I'm just not too sure. Only he will know, and will he tell the truth? But it's stunning either way.
Well, he didn't really look to the goalkeeper, did he? his eyes seem to be on the players in the penalty area, but if he's meant that, Bernardo Silva, then it's an extraordinary goal from an impossible angle to chip Hermansen, who's not the tallest goalkeeper, but then he's certainly not the shortest either. Pep Lijnders jumping around on the touchline, the assistant, and Pep Guardiola no doubt happy watching on in the stands. It's 1-0 to Manchester City, and so the gap to the league leaders Arsenal as it stands would be reduced to 7 points. At the moment, Pep Guardiola is in conversation with one of his assistants up in the gods here at West Ham. But all of West Ham's hard work undone by that moment. Was it a freak goal? Did he mean it? Either way, West Ham are 1-0 down.
And that's the issue, isn't it? Once you do concede that goal, do you just continue the way you have been if you're West Ham? Again, hoping just to get back into the game for a draw. I guess you do. And City can just relax slightly, knowing they've got themselves ahead. What do you think? Do you think he meant it?
I'm not sure he did, having had a look at the replay on our monitor here, because there was one angle, Dean, where he was looking into the penalty area very much towards his teammates in the box rather than at the keeper. But you'll know because you've played the game.
Well, he will have the vision as well as he's looking across to Haaland at the back post. He'll still be able to see Hermansen. He'll be able to see the goal as an image, probably in the corner of his left eye. And I guess if you want to deceive the goalkeeper in the right way, you would look at Haaland. You would look as if you're going to play that and not look at the goal and then just lift it over. It's so difficult when it looks so perfect in the way he's executed that over the top of Hermansen.
And this is a player with a rich quality of Bernardo Silva. Early ball into the area by Wan-Bissaka for West Ham. Slightly misjudged by Kusanov, a somewhat clumsy clearance, and it's gone out of play for West Ham's first corner in the game. Manchester City lead by 1-0 on TalkSport.
And I think that's one thing they can do, is just allow Jarrod Bowen a bit more freedom to say, go and get up there with Castellanos. He's got that fitness to get up and back and do the defensive work, Bowen, but just let him get closer to the centre forward.
Everybody back here for Manchester City. West Ham's first chance to threaten here. Bowen with the in-swinging delivery. Donnarumma doesn't get there, and it's headed in by Mavropanos, in off the underside of the bar, and the referee is signalling that the goal is given. The bubbles are blowing at London Stadium, and West Ham have struck back straight away. Pep Guardiola with his head in his hands on the near side touchline. Donnarumma leapt, didn't get there. Mavropanos, the former Arsenal man, did. It's West Ham 1, Manchester City 1.
Oh, well, you just don't expect it, do you? When Gigi Donnarumma goes up in that manner, you expect him to get there. He's so big and he stretches his arms out, but he just misses it. He clashes with Guehi, his own teammate, and because the delivery is so good from Bowen, and Mavropanos attacks it, kisses off the underside of the bar and definitely bounces over the line. But Donnarumma, I think, felt he was just going to punch that away until he crashed into the back of Guehi. What a response for West Ham.
A mistake from Donnarumma, and the cat back among the pigeons in the title race. Arsenal will be loving this. West Ham 1 Arsenal, West Ham 1 Manchester City 1, and West Ham moving out of the Premier League relegation zone in the process. And of course that's the important focus for them, as Bernardo Silva commits a foul and is yellow carded. Free kick just outside the centre circle. He caught Mateus Fernandes, and it's a free kick to West Ham United. And actually, on the balance of play, in terms of chances, West Ham might feel they deserve to be level for the effort they put in, the bravery they put into the game in the first 36 minutes, and it's 1-1.
And if you're going to defend that way, you then have to take any opportunity you get. And by opportunity, I mean a set play or a counter-attack. And they've been able to take advantage of that because Donnarumma didn't catch the flight of the ball. And it's just given his crowd a big lift. Bernardo Silva, a bit of frustration there. He's definitely got a bit of the Scholes about him in terms of tackling and yellow cards, hasn't he, Bernardo Silva?
Well, that's no bad thing.
No, I think it shows he certainly does still care, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Even maybe in the swan song of his Manchester City career, and Pep Guardiola has said that he'll let him decide. But West Ham have equalised, and the noise is back at London Stadium. It's 1-1 on TalkSport. Who knows whether this could be the defining day in the Premier League title race after Arsenal beat Everton 2-0, two very late goals earlier, and Manchester City being held here. Update from the Six Nations, Alfie Reynolds.
Well, we've played 24 minutes of the first half. It's France 17, England 10. We've had another try apiece here. Louis Biel-Biarré with his and France's second. England responding again. It was Murley that went over. Ramos has also kicked a penalty for the French. France 17, England 10.
So 1-1 here. Latest odds on TalkSport. You can head to our official betting partner of our Premier League coverage. That's Betfair. Right now, West Ham to win at 5-1. The draw at 9-1, Manchester City to win at 4-6. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with safe sub from Betfair. 18+, gambleaware.org. West Ham on the attack. Pablo right corner of the penalty area. Holds it up very neatly. Surrounded by black shirts, but he nudges it wide to Wan-Bissaka. West Ham playing from left to right in the first half, and your old club, Dean Ashton, have got a foothold in this game.
Well, they've just shown much more in the last 6 to 8 weeks, West Ham, that there's some genuine fight in the team. It's the minimum requirement in a relegation battle, is fight and desire to work and keep the opposition out, but don't give up on results.
Sliding tackle by Wan-Bissaka, and he's caught Guéhi very late. Assistant flags on the near side. The West Ham fans in the lower tier of the West Stand, near side, closest to that are furious, but Wan-Bissaka really did catch Guéhi with a nasty lunge there. I don't think he's going to get a yellow card, though. Doesn't look like it.
Well, I'm astonished. It's not a good tackle. Wan-Bissaka on Marc Guéhi, catches him on the ankle. It is late. Very surprised.
Oh, 1-1 and game on. 6 minutes of the first half to go, plus any added time. We've got live boxing for you once we're done here tonight at London Stadium on TalkSport. Dickens against Kakachi. Fight Night Live follows this. Rodri back to Donnarumma under pressure. Now Bernardo Silva on his edge of his own penalty area with claret shirts flooding towards it. Eventually Kusanov has to hoist it long, intercepted by Mateus Fernandes. Souček wide left to Juve. The momentum in the game is with West Ham. 1-1 the score. Reverse ball by Castellanos towards Pablo. Castellanos has it. Middle of the Manchester City half. Looks wide to the near side. Here's Todibo getting forward. The underlapping centre-back has won a throw off Ryan Aït-Nouri. And West Ham United really believe they can hurt Manchester City's title chances and really boost their own hopes in the relegation fight tonight.
Yeah, they've just come alive a little bit, haven't they, in terms of getting up the pitch and pressing higher, making it difficult for City to play now.
Castellanos headed back to Pablo. Bowen on the edge of the area, couldn't get to it. Beaten by Marmoush, who was tugged back by Mateus Fernandes. That's an obvious free kick to Manchester City. What's the effect like as a player, Dean, with Pep Guardiola being in the stands rather than on the touchline? Does it change anything?
I think it can do, just because, you know, Pep Guardiola isn't the type of manager that sits in the dugout very often. He's there, you can hear the instructions, so it might just be a little odd. But then again, we're talking about high level professionals, shouldn't really affect you that much.
Wonderful work by Jude, found on the West Ham left to get in a tight area, hugging the touchline, but he nutmegged one and pushed the ball forward to the halfway line. Souček with a sweeping pass, scooped up into the air out to the right, and Todibo. Down goes Nunes for Manchester City, slowly but surely getting to his feet. Already got strapping on his lower left arm tonight, Mateus Nunes. Forward to Wan-Bissaka via deflection from Todibo. Wan-Bissaka lets it trickle out of play for a throw. In the Premier League today, Arsenal 2, Everton 0, Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1. All of the goals as they go in tomorrow on Game Day Live on TalkSport with Sam Matterface and the team. They'll take you around the grounds. It's a really busy, lively show, always a great listen, and so you won't miss any of the key moments tomorrow from the Premier League on Talk Sport. Mateus Fernandes with a little dink out to Wan-Bissaka, who floats it forward towards Bowen on the halfway line. Very congested area. West Ham lose the ball. O'Reilly comes away with it, skips beyond Castellanos, square to Bernardo Silva, 25 yards out. Now Marmoush, left corner of the penalty area, twisting, turning, teasing, but not beyond Mateus Fernandes, who hacks it clear. And he doesn't just do that, he finds Bowen, who scoops it over the top. Castellanos in a foot race with Gehi. Gehi gets there first and nudges it back to Donnarumma. Was he caught by Castellanos? I don't think the referee thought so. Manchester City have it anyway, and I think the advantage was being played.
Yeah, just the edge, wasn't it, in terms of acceleration there, Gehi. Castellanos, he works incredibly hard. Does Castellanos, but he hasn't quite got that electric pace to get away from the top defenders. Okay, he just was on the cover that time.
So a reminder, Arsenal's advantage at the top, 9 points as it stands. City have a game in hand. They still have to play Arsenal, of course, not just in the League Cup final live on Talk Sport next week, but on the 19th of April as well at the Etihad. But certainly you feel they can't afford to drop any more points, and Pablo's rolled it through the middle and Bowen is chasing. Aït-Nouri gets there before Bowen, always looked the likeliest in that foot race, Aït-Nouri. Manchester City tap it back to Donnarumma with a risky ball right along the edge of his own 6-yard line to find Gehi, with Castellanos closing in. Gehi carries it forward, rolls it square to Semenyo. Last 90 seconds of the first half here on Talk Sport. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. And here is Aït-Nouri again, out on the right-hand side now on the halfway line. Rodri to Bernardo Silva, who suddenly glides forward up the gears. Square to Semenyo, 25 yards out, knocks it wide. Nunes, it wasn't a great ball by Semenyo. Nunes has kept it in play, out in the right-wing position. Back to Bernardo Silva. West Ham with their massed ranks behind the ball here at the moment. Pep Guardiola's left his seat in the stand and he's presumably heading down to the dressing room at the moment. Last minute of normal time. West Ham would do well to keep it as tight as they possibly can up until the half-time whistle. Skipping forward is Kusanov, right down the middle. Half tackle on Kusanov. Ball takes a bounce. It'll be cleared away by Todibo to Wan-Bissaka. Right wing back position. Oh, heavy touch. He's lost out to the Marmoush, and now Haaland lays it square, hit by Semenyo, just wide of the near post. And Antoine Semenyo, with his goal-scoring record since joining Manchester City, might feel that he should have put them back in front.
Oh, it was a silly risk from Wan-Bissaka to turn in that area, just play it out if he's under pressure. Played into Haaland, who turns and fights Semenyo on the edge of the area. He doesn't catch it perfectly, but you can see the idea is right to side foot that into the near post area. Just didn't catch it the way he wanted to. It was more off the big toe rather than the inside of his foot. Just meant it bounced and skidded and spun away from that near post.
2 added minutes at the end of the first half here at London Stadium. Manchester City have the ball in the right back area with Nunes on the far side, and he's fouled by Bowen. Little tussle between the two. Free kick given by referee Oliver, and Manchester City just tap it forward to Bernardo Silva. They're a long way from goal at the moment. No great danger here for West Ham. And Gehi has it. It's been Manchester City who've dominated possession and territory, but West Ham, with their only real attack, have got themselves level through Mavropanos' header off the underside of the bar, and they were not behind for long. West Ham, only 4 minutes or so. Aït-Nouri to O'Reilly towards the left corner of the penalty area. Very crowded area, but Aït-Nouri skips forward. Owen wriggles away from Souček, runs into Mateus Fernandes. Rodri tries to gather at the loose ball, hacked away by Wan-Bissaka, not very far. Now Semenyo, interception by Souček. It's quite scrappy at the end of the first half. 40 seconds here for West Ham to hang on until the break. Aït-Nouri over the halfway line. Quick ball forward to O'Reilly. West Ham here, crowding out the midfield. Line of 5, line of 4 in front of them. Here goes Marmoush down the left for Manchester City, who are trying to find a gap in the attack. Marmoush not fouled by Todibo. Goes back to O'Reilly. 20 seconds of the first half remain. It's 1-1. O'Reilly looks up, picks out Rodri, dead centre. Now on to Nunes from range, and a floated effort that goes over the top, and that'll be it for the first half, surely.
Yeah, sigh of relief I think, for the West Ham players who worked incredibly hard. They'll be slightly fatigued mentally, I think, at half-time. Núñez, though, over the top.
And Manchester City, as the half-time whistle goes, are poised to drop more points in the race for the title after Arsenal's victory over Everton late on at the Emirates earlier. The onus really is on City to come away with a victory from East London tonight, but West Ham in their relegation battle are holding them here after Bernardo Silva, well, was it a cross or was it a very deceptive shot, put Manchester City into the lead. Mavropanos with a thumping header to equalise, and it really is game on here at London Stadium. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. Thank you, Resh. In a game that Pep Guardiola, remember, has said that Manchester City must win to keep their title fight alive. He is sitting up in the stands and is just returning to his seat. I can see him sitting down now, a tier below where we are. And West Ham heading for a very important point in their fight against relegation, currently outside the relegation zone. West Ham have got the second half underway. No changes for either team. West Ham playing from right to left with claret shirts, white shorts and white socks. Goalkeeper is Hermansen. Mavropanos, Disasi and Todibo are the central defenders. Wan-Bissaka and Diouf the wing-backs. Souček and Fernandes the two in the middle, with Bowen and Pablo in support of Castellanos up front. Manchester City playing from left to right, all in black, and they have Donnarumma in goal. Núñez, Kusanov, Guehi and Aït-Nouri. Rodri holding, Bernardo Silva, Semenyo and O'Reilly, and then Haaland and Marmoush up front. I'll give you both benches in just a moment. Lots of empty seats early on in the second half here as spectators spend some time in the concourse areas. Chested back by Diouf to his goalkeeper Hermansen. 1-1 the score. A minute into the second half, Dean Ashton, and so far, so good for West Ham.
Yeah, and I was impressed with the way that they fought, the way that they defended in that first half. And again, that kind of intensity that will lift the crowd. Tackles. Yes, tackles in today's game are still so important. Not only in terms of keeping the opposition out, but giving your supporters still a good lift. So, from that perspective, I thought it was a really positive performance in the first half for West Ham. City were what you expected, which is terrific with the ball. They need to create more. Again, Haaland, very quiet.
He is, by his very high standards, on something of a rough patch at the moment, Erling Haaland, but remember his goal-scoring record against West Ham United. It is a sterling record, 11 in 7 Premier League appearances coming into tonight. Scored his first goal for Manchester City on this ground in the Premier League a few seasons ago now. Here is Aït-Nouri in the left-back position, far side, forward to O'Reilly, who wriggles forward towards the halfway line and sets up Semenyo. Great first touch to carry it forward. Semenyo then slightly less impressive with his following touches. He has knocked it wide to Bernardo Silva down by the corner flag on the near side, but some of the momentum has gone out of that Manchester City attack. 1-1 the score. Rodri to Marmoush, 9 points behind Arsenal in the title race for City as it stands. Bernardo Silva, the goal scorer, rolls it in field. Marmoush from the angle, across the face of goal. No touch from Hermansen. Goal kick to West Ham.
Well, Bernardo Silva again. He's been so good in this game in terms of just being able to link between Rodri and the forward line. Brilliant ball in, disguised ball to Marmoush, who made a darting run into that right-hand sided channel of the penalty area. He's got one thing on his mind, which is to strike towards goal. We know he can, and he did. It's just it was 3 yards wide of the far post.
There's still swathes of West Ham fans retaking their seats here at the vast expanse of London Stadium. Almost unthinkable to imagine this 60,000-seater ground in the Championship next season, as Kusanov has to get in front of Pablo, back facing his own goal here. Kusanov hooks it over his shoulder out towards the left back position. Aït-Nouri nudges the ball in field, and Rodri's there to bring it down very calmly here for Manchester City. Rodri, as though he's got all the time in the world, finds Marmoush midway inside his own half. Back it goes to Núñez. So 1-1 on TalkSport. Núñez with a good early ball, good starting position. Hermansen very quickly out of his goal, the West Ham keeper, out to the midway point of his own half, and a very calm pass to Diouf to get it clear. Now Castellanos on the halfway line, wriggling away from one challenge and blasting the ball towards the opposite side, the right, looking for Wan-Bissaka. it's retrieved by Aït-Nouri.
That's a shame though, isn't it? Lovely play down the left-hand side. Castellanos with the ball over the top towards Wan-Bissaka, and Bowen, who would have been 2v1 against Aït-Nouri, and he underhits it. It was poor, actually.
Haaland looking to dart through the middle momentarily there, but on a quiet night for him again. Well shepherded by a combination of Mavropanos, Todibo and Disasi. And now the ball is back with Disasi on the near side, the left. Only lost one of his 7 appearances for West Ham coming into tonight, Axel Disasi. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1 on TalkSport. After Arsenal beat Everton by 2-0 in the 5:30 kickoff. And Chelsea beaten at home by Newcastle, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0 at 3 o'clock. And Brighton rewarded their away support for making that long trip to Sunderland with a 1-0 victory. More live football for you coming up over the next few days at a rapid pace, including on Monday night, Brentford against Wolves in the Premier League, live and exclusive here on TalkSport. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we'll have European football across the network, so the best way to be across all that is to download our free app, and then you can swipe between TalkSport and TalkSport 2 when you need to. And then over the weekend, some cracking commentaries for you, including Newcastle against Sunderland, the Tyne-Wear derby, and the League Cup final between Manchester City and Arsenal. Pep Guardiola's on the phone again, Dean. I wonder, is he thinking about changes?
Well, of course they've got such quality to turn to, and he's not adverse to making an early-ish substitution in the second half. I think he'll be pretty patient, though. He understands that his team have to play against this quite regularly, so they know they have to bide their time and wait for those openings.
And it's a Manchester City bench of the utmost quality. Trafford, Doku, Diaz, Ake, Cherki, Foden, Gonzalez, Reinders and Kovacic, who's only played a couple of times this season because of injury. At the West Ham bench, Areola, Walker-Peters, Conte, Traore, Kilman, Magassa, Meyers, Potts and Callum Wilson, who could be an interesting one to throw on maybe late in the game. It's 1-1. West Ham fans finding their collective voice. It's Manchester City in possession yet again, as they have been for much of the game. O'Reilly's ball up the edge of the penalty area. A little deft touch by Aït-Nouri. Looked to find Marmoush, but it was smuggled away from the feet of Marmoush before he could react. And sent upfield by Pablo, way over the head of Jared Bowen. Easy for Guehi to retrieve it. And 7 minutes into the second half, the pattern of play, just as it was in the first team.
And again, sometimes you've got to give credit to Manchester City out of possession, because when West Ham do get the ball, the pressure on them is terrific from City, and therefore they're rushing that maybe chance to counter-attack and overhitting the pass far too often because of that pressure.
Drop points against Nottingham Forest at home, did Manchester City in their last Premier League game. Are they going to drop points away at London Stadium tonight? Long way still to go beneath the floodlights here. Nuno watching on, the West Ham boss, with his arms folded, barely moved from that spot right on the edge of the technical area. Manchester City go back to Donnarumma, and now Nunes in the right back area feeds Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva drifting deep into his own half. Nunes rolling it back to Donnarumma again, slightly bobbled in front of him, had to be careful with the ball at his feet. Finds Guehi. West Ham looking to press forward collectively now. Todibo tries to win it back against Aït-Nouri, who gets in a tangle. Todibo into the area. Castellanos back to goal, tried a back heel, steered upfield and away by Kusanov. And then Rodri trying to bring it down, and he comes away with possession. Midway inside his own half, gets beyond Mateus Fernandes, knocks it through the middle. Poor ball by Rodri's standards, intercepted by the goalkeeper Hermansen, and West Ham have it back again.
Well, it was really good hustling, wasn't it, from West Ham on the far side. Todibo and Bowen winning the ball into Castellanos. Super first touch under pressure, and then just tried the fancy back heel and missed it. And City on the break with another misplaced pass.
Bowen now for West Ham United, darting in field, and it's worked out wide by Castellanos to Souček. Pablo in the middle, cross into Castellanos, who dived at it, cleared away, and steered further towards the left back position now by Guehi, retrieved by Semenyo, who has rolled it backwards via the touch of Wan-Bissaka, out of play for a goal kick. He flung himself at that, did Castellanos, and he wasn't too far away.
Well, did he just miss it? or was it just too far in front? It's difficult because Guéhi's looking to volley away, so again, like with Haaland's earlier, you've got to try and judge it, but he just misses it. He doesn't quite catch the flight of it. It would have been half a chance. It was a great ball from Souček from the right hand side. Better moments though for West Ham already in this second half.
Former West Ham striker Dean Ashton with us on TalkSport. Foul by Disasi on Marmoush. Free kick Manchester City. They don't want to get ahead of themselves here, of course, West Ham, and a point would be a good result. It would take them out of the drop zone, but I wonder, do they sense a sniff of a potential victory here? They're on the defensive now though. Semenyo inside left, tries a cross, deflection on it, gathered by Hermansen, high above his head, no problem for the goalkeeper.
And they've done well at that when City have been really clever in finding the gaps, and the passes have been really sharp and they've got away. Whether it's Todibo or Disasi or even Mavropanos, they've been really good at getting back and stopping that cross. Because if that ball comes in from Semenyo, Haaland's got a great chance of sliding in.
Lurking with that usual predatory intent, Manchester City's number 9. 1 of 30 goals in all competitions for the season, Erling Haaland, so he's not doing too badly. About par for the course, I guess, for him.
Well, it is. It's just he starts the seasons so unbelievably well.
Yeah,
that's why the record at the start of the season was astonishing.
He's aiming to become the first top flight player in England, Erling Haaland, to score 30 goals in all competitions in 4 straight seasons since Thierry Henry, the great Thierry Henry, did it from 2001 to 2006. On the attack now here is Castellanos away down the left-hand side. The ball has trickled beyond him and he's offside anyway. Free kick to Manchester City. The game not being played at a great pace. West Ham sitting deep, inviting pressure on. Manchester City having to be very patient. It's 1-1 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Liverpool against Spurs live tomorrow. Search Now Sports. Aït-Nouri out to the left and Semenyo. Socks rolled right down to his ankles. Back to Aït-Nouri. And now O'Reilly with a forward pass to Aït-Nouri again, and again West Ham, everybody in claret and white behind the ball, floated crossfield by Rodri, beautiful pass, well taken down by Bernardo Silva, back to Nunes to whip it in, headed up into the air by Disasi, not very far, flick clear by Souček, nudge further forward by Pablo, retrieved by Castellanos, who tries the Rabona pass out to the left hand side. I don't know whether that was really the time and the place, but it's cleared upfield by Juve anyway, and Bowen beaten by Rodri on halfway.
I'm not quite sure either about the Roberto. I mean, that's just him. I think as long as the pass goes where it was intended, which luckily it did, then it's okay, because again his hold-up play was superb to start with.
The West Ham crowd picking up again. 1-1 against Manchester City. City behind Arsenal by 9 points as it stands. They have a game in hand. They still have to play Arsenal on the 19th of April, but Pep Guardiola said they must win tonight. Wan-Bissaka's won the ball back for West Ham. Jeremy Doku getting ready to go for Manchester City down below us, who have the ball with Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri led with the edge of the 18-yard box. Back now to Guéhi. Guéhi looks up, square to O'Reilly. It is attack v defence at the moment, but West Ham are relatively comfortable. Again, Hermansen has not had many saves to make in the game. Little flick by Aït-Nouri, not cute enough to find Semenyo, cleared away by Todibo. And it's Cherki who is also going to come on for Manchester City here. A double change awaits.
Yeah, and when you put so much effort in already as a West Ham defender, and you think they're going to freshen it up, and there's Cherki and especially Doku in these tight areas.
O'Reilly through the middle towards Haaland, well intercepted by Mavropanos, who saw it coming. Good reading of the game. Pablo slows it down, back to Mateus Fernandes. This is just shy of the centre circle. Mateus Fernandes trying to scamper forward, blocked off by Marmoush, who we think is actually about to come off in a few moments to be replaced by Cherki. We'll get confirmation very shortly. Cherki just getting some final instructions, walking across that claret carpet to the edge of the technical area now. Pep Lijnders is doing the shouting for Manchester City tonight. Are West Ham, is comfortable the right word, Dean Ashton, for West Ham?
certainly not comfortable because having to work so hard to make sure those interceptions stop any promising attacks. But there's a reason why there's changes being made, because Manchester City just aren't able to create meaningful chances because of that defensive unit.
So there might be a little bit of moving about for Manchester City in terms of the formation here. Cherki for Marmoush and Doku for Aït-Nouri. So will that mean O'Reilly going to left back?
I would expect so. He's versatile enough, O'Reilly, to just drop back in. And I think Doku will go over to the left, of course he will. Semenyo over to the right.
And Pep Guardiola in constant communication, as you'd expect, with his team down on the touchline. I just saw Phil Foden jog back towards the dugout. I wonder whether he'll come on shortly, as O'Reilly wins the ball back for Manchester City in the left back position, where he will have to go now, having suffered in that position against Valverde and Real Madrid on Wednesday night in the Champions League. Foden is stripped and ready to go in the all black of Manchester City, an hour gone here on TalkSport. 1-1 at London Stadium. Cherki through the middle, Haaland is onto it, Haaland! Chipped wide by Hermansen. Haaland right through the middle, tried to pass it into the bottom corner, and Hermansen with a sprawling save.
Oh, it's a super save. Gets down so quickly, doesn't he, Hermansen? Because it's a lovely play from City. Cherki straight away with an influence. A reverse pass into Haaland. Does the right thing, opens his body up, just firmly side foots it towards the corner. He thinks he scored because it's going to go right in the corner. Hermansen gets down and gets a fingertip to it to put it behind.
Absolutely right. The fingers of Hermansen keeping the scores level. Corner Manchester City, in by Bernardo Silva, and headed wide from inside the penalty area. Deflection on it. Kusanov went up. Was there a touch off Juve perhaps? Either way, it's another corner to Manchester City. 1-1.
Well, and you've just got to make sure the concentration's right from every single moment for West Ham. It was Pablo with the heading, nothing about it. He'd been twisted in a wrestle, hit his head and just went wide.
It's another corner to Manchester City. Driven in by Bernardo Silva. Up goes Rodri. Good header away by Mavropanos this time. The ball has trickled out to the near side of the field. It's back at the feet of the number 10, Cherki. These are important minutes in the title race here. Manchester City, as it stands, falling 9 points behind Arsenal, remember. Arsenal, who through Gyökeres and Max Daumann scored twice late on to beat Everton earlier today. The first of those goals coming in the 89th minute. Doku in the left wing position, blocked off by Souček. West Ham working very hard, but getting deeper and deeper in the game at the moment. Doku away on the left, teases it backwards to Gehi. Walking pace. Gehi to Cherki. Gehi faced up by Bowen, and Cherki turns away from Mateus Fernandes. Suddenly accelerates forward to the corner of the penalty area. Ryan Cherki running on and shooting right-footed. Big deflection on it. Maybe a double deflection in another corner.
Yeah, Fernandes felt like he was fouled, that he was there first, but Cherki, too strong, turns away. Lovely dribbling ability, hasn't he? Both feet. I'm not quite sure which way he's going to go. He chose to go onto his right foot, trying to take the strike. Big deflection that went wide.
Well, West Ham are going to add some sturdy reinforcements to their midfield in a moment. I'll tell you about that in more detail in a second. First, another corner, outswinger. Bernardo Silva, left-footed, up go the heads, over the top. It looked like Souček went up for it with Kusanov, and it's ended up over the bar from Mateus Nunes. Kusanov, rather.
Yeah, three good deliveries from Bernardo Silva. Marmoush's were poor in the first half. There was three right on the money for City. Couldn't quite get the header there. Kusanov under severe pressure.
So here comes the young Frenchman Magassa, and it's Pablo coming off, so that most certainly feels like a more defensive minded change for West Ham United, with the score at 1-1, 63 minutes into the game. Are we going to see a slight tweak to this formation, I wonder?
Yeah, I think Souček has just gone to play a little further forwards, behind what is now a two-man attack, a two-man wide attack. Castellanos and Bowen, and Fernandes and Magassa holding.
And no sign of the imminent arrival of Phil Foden onto the field just yet. He was stripped and ready to go. Keep an eye on him. Cherki for Manchester City. Again, they're camped inside the West Ham half, looking for the goal to put them back into the lead. That would close the gap on Arsenal to 7 points. Doku raining infield from the left, playing it back now, whipped in by Cherki. Haaland back post, header away by Mavropanos, and the loose ball gathered up by Diouf, whose clearance cannons off Nunes, and the ball trickles towards the dead ball line. He's out-muscled there, Diouf, by Semenyo, who does very well. And it's yet another Manchester City corner, this one in front of the travelling fans.
And again, they're so good at it. Manchester City is that work out of off the ball to win it back, to keep the momentum, to keep you honest as a defender. I think if you gave me anybody in the Premier League to mark Doku, it probably would be Wan-Bissaka. I think that's the only positive, really, when you have someone like Doku come onto the pitch who can be such a threat.
Wan-Bissaka in those one-on-one situations. 20 minutes into the second half, corner for Manchester City, hoisted in by Cherki, header away by Magassa. Important first touch, comes out to Doku. Nunes, everybody inside the West Ham half bar Donnarumma, who's a spectator at the moment. Cherki rolls the pass infield to Semenyo with his back to goal on the edge of the D. Semenyo wriggles towards the corner of the penalty area, tees up Rodri on the overlap. Rodri with a driven cross, headed away. It'll come out to Doku. Doku on the edge of the box, fizzes in a shot, and it's high over the top, out of control, swirling over the bar and sailing into the lower tier of the away end.
Yeah, well, it was a good ball in from Rodri. Really did tease that West Ham defence. Todibo it was, with a vital header. Gueye actually getting in there for the header, and then when it came out to Doku, they didn't get out quick enough to him, so he thought he'd have the strike. Poor effort, really. More of a crossfield pass than a strike at goal.
Oh, they're under real pressure at the moment, West Ham United, as we head towards the final quarter of the game. And West Ham give the ball away immediately from the goal kick, and Manchester City is straight back on the attack. Doku stumbles under the challenge of Souček, then Bowen has a swing at the ball on the halfway line. Doku forced by Wan-Bissaka to go backwards to Gueye, and as Dean said, that'll be an interesting tussle. Scottish Premiership, still Kilmarnock 1, Hearts 0. The gap between the leaders Hearts and Celtic, they're down to 2 points at the moment. That after Celtic won 3-1 at home to Motherwell earlier today. Rodri on the halfway line for Manchester City. This is Talk Sport. Fight Night Live once we're done here at London Stadium. Semenyo wearing number 42 as Manchester City look for an opener. They're having to use all of their precision and incisiveness here to try and break West Ham down. They haven't yet. Rodri's touch. Nunes in the area. Nunes takes the touch, and sliding it was Mavropanos. Hermansen tips it wide. It's a corner. Was there a risk in the challenge from Mavropanos?
Or was it Magassa? One of the two that was just behind Nunes. It was brilliant from City into Rodri. Beautiful bounce pass. Magassa it was, sliding in from behind Nunes, which is what they were saying. But I think it was Magassa that actually made the tackle. Mavropanos was just a passenger sliding by.
Here's the in-swinging corner this time of Bernardo Silva, left-footed right underneath the crossbar. Up go the heads, behind, goal kick. Lurking at the back post was Mark Guehi, and he got something on it, but the angle was very tight. And it's West Ham who survive another Manchester City threat. Let's get the latest from the Stade de France in the Six Nations. Alfie Reynolds.
Where it is France 38, England 27. Another costly sim period in this Six Nations for England. The penalty try to France on half-time. Ellis Genge into the sim bin, and during that period, two more French scores. Biel Biarré and Atis Ogbe have both just gone over. It's France 38, England 27.
So 1-1 here. 22 minutes plus added time to go. Souček on the halfway line for West Ham. Attacks have been almost non-existent for West Ham in the second half. Bowen lobs the ball over the top. Castellanos chasing. Kusanov missed his kick. Here comes Donnarumma. Just gets there in the nick of time.
Yeah, it was a really good ball from Wan-Bissaka into Bowen, who took it out of the sky brilliantly on the swivel. Tried to find Castellanos. Again, he just lacks that tiny bit of pace to get away from Kusanov.
And Manchester City now try to counter, but West Ham very effective in funneling players back behind the ball. And again, 10 out of the 11 behind the ball here with Manchester City on the attack with Cherki. Cherki looks up from the inside right position, near side of the field, almost level with our commentary box here. Cherki floats in across, right-footed all the way to the back post. Wan-Bissaka misses his header. Doku's there to retrieve it. Doku drills it back to Haaland. First-time shot wide. Bobbles wide from Haaland, and his hands go to his head. He's frustrated.
Oh, that's a chance for him, I think. He unbelievably finds himself completely free in the penalty area. 12 yards out, nobody near him. Doku plays that in towards his favoured left foot, and he catches it horribly. Looking to just firmly pass that into the far corner. It hits his heel, bobbles horribly wide, and that was an attempt of a man that isn't particularly confident.
An agonising watch for Pep Lijnders on the near side touchline, hands to his head as well. It stays 1-1 on Talk Sport. Our official Premier League betting partner, Betfair, have the latest odds. West Ham to win at 8-1, the draw 11-10. Manchester City 11-10 to win the game. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with safe sub from Betfair, 18+, gambleaware.org. Still so far so good for West Ham, your old club, Dean Ashton. 20 to go and heading out of the relegation zone at the moment.
And you can sense, because of the support, they're trying to get behind their team. They know how valuable a point would be, but they know City is such a great team that you can't switch off at all.
City poised to strike at any moment. Bernardo Silva's in the area. Can he get the shot away? So to O'Reilly. Scrambled clear by Todibo. There were nervous moments there for West Ham United. Two of the defenders swung at it and missed, and eventually Todibo made contact.
I mean, it's such a long period of time to play this way for West Ham, to concentrate and have that communication and not switch off. You know, they've started this from a long way out, West Ham.
Gehi towards the corner of the penalty area, square to Rodri. Rodri thought about a shot. He's run through the middle here, Rodri, blocked off by Magassa and Bowen in combination. West Ham counter, Bowen wriggling forward and whacking it over the halfway line. He was caught late there, Bowen, but nothing given by the referee. It's easy possession again for Manchester City here with Bernardo Silva. All the play from left to right in the second half. It's relentless for Manchester City, but the scores are still level. City are poised to drop points again in the title race. Rodri high over the top, Nunes chasing, and it takes one bounce and he's through to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, decent idea from Rodri. Difficult execution though. Nunes now being more adventurous, getting forwards from right back. Just wonder whether Nuno Espirito Santo is looking at a possible change. I mean, he has got Adama Traore on his bench. Castellanos has worked incredibly hard. Do you kind of bring on someone like him that can just get you at the pitch on his own?
Well, no sign just yet, but Foden, having done another warm-up on the near side, is jogging back to the touchline. Wonder whether Manchester City are poised to make more changes shortly. They have it in the left-back position with O'Reilly. Over the halfway line to Doku. Reinders ready for Manchester City as well. Doku now driving in field from the left-hand side. Well won by Todibo in the one-on-one. Stepping across Doku, whipping it out from underneath his toes. The thing is, West Ham have got no outlet up front at the moment. It just keeps coming back at them, and Manchester City get another free kick on the halfway line.
Yeah, it does. I think plenty of supporters there felt his Doku's chance against Todibo. Stood firm, didn't dive in, waited for that loose touch from Doku.
Semenyo, right wing position, rolling it back now to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva looks up, whips in a dangerous cross. Haaland at the back post, hit it away before it could reach him. And now Bowen scampering forward now towards the halfway line. He's got nobody really in support, Bowen. He's had to hold it up on halfway. And he'll play it back now to Magassa. And West Ham keep possession, string one or two passes together, really for the first time in the second half. 73 minutes have been played, and we are still level at London Stadium. 1-1 on Talk Sport. Diouf goes down, hoping for a free kick, and the referee has given it, I think. Here comes Adama Traore.
Yeah, it just seemed really obvious, I think, that either that long ball over the top for him, or you can play it into his feet and he can get at the City defence, and it is Castellanos who I thought might be the one to be sacrificed. He does put a hell of a work work rate in for this West Ham team. He's made a big difference since coming to the club, just in that sense alone.
Foden, without a goal in 18 appearances in all competitions, is coming on, as is Reinders. Off goes Semenyo, a rare frustrating day in his Manchester City career thus far. On gets Foden, and the other change is Bernardo Silva. And here comes Tierney Reinders. Reinders, who scored in the reverse fixture earlier on this season. It was yet another comfortable win for Manchester City against West Ham, but it certainly hasn't been the case so far tonight. Quarter of an hour to go, and it's 1-1. Header away by Rodri from the edge of the penalty area. The ball bounces down, and Mavropanos is there to thump it upfield high for West Ham. The ball drops down after an almost interminable wait. Headed away by Rodri. Flick on by Souček. Chasing his Traore. Can he beat the goalkeeper to it? No. Donnarumma always had a head start.
Yeah, just needs to get those thighs and hamstrings really warmed up, doesn't he, Traore, before he gives Kusanov a test.
Always got that hustle and bustle, Traore, as does Bowen. He's got possession out in the right wing on the far side, taking on O'Reilly. Some of the West Ham fans in that corner of the ground get to their feet. Mateus Fernandes crosses. Guehi only half away. Wan-Bissaka tries to tease it back across. O'Reilly's there. Guehi had to be very clever with the ball. Sliding in his Wan-Bissaka to win it back. And then he's given it straight to O'Reilly, who clears away only as far as Todibo. Now Fernandes in the wing position. Wan-Bissaka loops in a high cross, header away by Nunes. It'll bounce down to Disasi. Urged to shoot, surely not from there. He's rolled it square to Magassa. Oh, he's lost out to Rodri. That'll be a yellow card for Magassa as he trips Rodri. Knew he was beaten, and it was a 3-on-3 there for Manchester City. Yellow card.
Oh, he had to. He had to make the challenge. As poor as it was, and he was always going to get a yellow card. It was such a poor mistake from Magassa. He had to take serious action, and he did so.
Less than 15 minutes to go. West Ham, as it stands, a point clear of the relegation zone. Though, of course, the teams around them will have games in hand. Meanwhile, Manchester City 9 points behind Arsenal. Yes, with a game in hand, but that is a big deficit to try and overhaul, and they're not in form in the Premier League. They're not in form in general really at the moment, Manchester City, after that defeat on Wednesday in the Champions League. Guehi just inside the West Ham half at walking pace. Everybody inside the West Ham half bar Donnarumma. Haaland rolls it forward. Now Rodri, edge of the area, waiting for the run of Foden. Foden tries an early cross. Cherki went near post. It's gone behind for a corner to Manchester City. Some lovely football there.
Yeah, wasn't it? So quick. Such great movement. 1 and 2 touch. Foden it was that was released. Nearly cut that back, didn't he? Again, it's that vital defensive touch, but you cannot get comfortable.
Reinders with the in-swinging corner. Up went Rodri, punched away, drops to Cherki. Good save by Hermansen in his near post. He saw that through a crowd of bodies, and he held on to the ball as well.
Yeah, didn't he do well to make sure that he just got his neck muscles in use to look round the back of Mavropanos and see that shot from Cherki coming towards his face. Got his hands up well. Cherki excellent with the first touch and strike so quickly.
Well, we talked about it a bit in the first half, but it's an amazing recovery that Hermansen is enjoying at the moment at West Ham. Frozen out after the first 3 Premier League games. Areola took his place, but Hermansen very consistent in the last 6 Premier League matches, at least for now. 12 minutes to go, plus added time. Attack v defence. It's Manchester City on the attack, left to right. Foden goes cross-field, out to the far side. Doku brings it down in front of Wan-Bissaka, who is so good in those one-on-one situations. Wan-Bissaka just jockeying, and now the ball is out to the Manchester City left. O'Reilly tries a first-time cross, and it's turned away by Souček. He looks to quickly get to the loose ball, O'Reilly, so he can get it back into play. Very frustrating night to be a Manchester City fan. Arsenal scoring 2 late goals to beat Everton, and City not labouring here, but level. with West Ham United. Nunes out on the right, back to Foden again. 10 yards from the corner of the penalty area. One goal will be enough to surely win the game here. Reinders, the number 4, the Dutchman, out wide to the near side. Nunes has rolled the ball onto his right foot. He's got Diouf at his back, and Diouf forcing him towards the touchline, defending very effectively Al-Haji Malik Diouf. Now Kusanov retrieves the ball. Reinders, middle of the West Ham half. West Ham with everybody back in the claret shirts. Can they keep their concentration? Couple of step overs from Cherki. Wide to Nunes. They keep themselves onside Manchester City. Cherki, edge of the area with the jinking feet. But again, this time he's faced up by Traore. Kusanov a long way out. To Cherki, to float in the cross over the head of Haaland at the back post. It bounces behind for a goal kick. West Ham are defending excellently.
Aren't they just? But they're being tested, that's for sure, now that Foden, Cherki, Doku are on. They're so sharp that they're just finding a few gaps. It was a decent ball from Cherki. Haaland thought he was away. Todibo just did enough to wrestle him out of position and allow it to go behind.
14 points in their last 18. That's as many as they picked up in the first 21. This is a very different West Ham team at the moment. And they've timed it just about early enough.
And do you know what? It's nothing too difficult.
No.
It's nothing scientific. It is simply working so hard for each other, to help each other, to get across, to cover the ground, to communicate. All really simple things in footballing terms, but difficult to do when you've lacked confidence.
Pep Guardiola watching on from the director's box down below us. The touchline ban won't apply for the League Cup final. By the way, next weekend live on Talk Sport, Manchester City against Arsenal. Foden inside right for Manchester City, just meandering infield, square to Rodri. Rodri looking up, chest puffed out, little back heel to Reinders, onto O'Reilly. Cherki with his back to goal, squeezed upfield by Magassa initially, and then hooked into the air by Souček. Little cushion header out wide by Kusanov. Not the best work from Nunes to try and win it back. Diouf got there in front of him, plays it back to Disasi. He floats it long up to Traore, can't get it held up. Rodri there to win it back, deft touch to Reinders. Reinders forward to the centre circle and sliding in his Bowen. Reinders has nudged it wide to Doku, taking on Wan-Bissaka. Haaland in the middle, so too Foden. Good play by Doku, winning a corner.
Yeah, just did enough there, Wan-Bissaka. Just held him up enough to allow Magassa to come back and help him. He's almost showing him down the line, but backing himself that he could slide in if Doku wants to go that way. And he went to go inside and Magassa was there.
Fight Night Live comes next on Talk Sport, live from Dublin, once we're done here at London Stadium. 8 minutes to go plus stoppage time, 1-1. Corner Manchester City, in by Reinders, headed away by Souček, further cleared by Traore, though not very far. It's just coming back at West Ham again and again and again. Reinders suddenly accelerates down the left-hand side. Doku's on the overlap. Doku taking on Fernandes, caught by Fernandes, and a free kick in a dangerous position.
And there's the difference though, isn't it? Wan-Bissaka with that experience out there, backing himself. Fernandes not, just goes diving. It's easy work for Doku. He's too quick. He can just stab the ball away from you.
And what have we said about the Premier League this season and set pieces? Manchester City's biggest threats have come from corners in the second half. This is a free kick, level with the edge of the 6-yard box. Standing over it here is Reinders, very crowded in the 6-yard area in front of Hermansen. Drifted in by Reinders, off the bar! And it bounces away to safety via a touch, a deflection. Corner to Manchester City again.
Well, it was a touch from Hermansen, but again, I mean, he leaves a gap over the top of his far post. He does well just to get a touch. Certainly isn't the biggest goalkeeper, is it? So sometimes he looks susceptible to that.
In by Foden, and a scramble in the area. Hook goals by O'Reilly, cleared away by Diouf for West Ham United. 1-1, just about. West Ham hanging on a little now in the game, in the late stages. Good work by Fernandes to shepherd it out of play. That gets the West Ham fans down in the lower tier, out of their seats, punching the air. I don't know why some are heading for the exits. Certainly not with the game as finely poised as it is. 6.5 to go, plus added time. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1 on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. Going to be a great evening for Arsenal in the title race if it stays like this. Mavropanos thundering the ball forward, chested back by Traore, not a good layoff. Rodri there to make an interception, and Rodri scoops it forward, headed back by Cherki to O'Reilly. West Ham having to summon up every bit of concentration here now. Doku taking on the defender, rolling it into the area, cleared away by Mavropanos. Skywards out of play for a Manchester City throw.
Well, we heard the noise again from the West Ham supporters who are behind their team. But as we've always said with Manchester City, they're just the masters at it. They really are. They're like Car, the snake from the Jungle Book, just passing you to sleep, and you think you're okay. You're fist pumping to your own supporters when you're making interceptions, but you switch off, you fall to sleep for a second, and this City team will still punish you now with what's remaining of the game.
The West Ham fans collectively really appreciating their team's effort tonight. So they're on 29 points in 17th, and Forest dropping into the relegation zone. Traore through the middle, can he get there ahead of Rodri? Well, Rodri waited for his goalkeeper, who was a little slow to come out there. Donnarumma at fault, remember, for the West Ham equaliser, but they get away with it here, Manchester City. Nunes on halfway, blocked off by Mateus Fernandes. Referee lets City play the advantage. They get to the loose ball anyway. Rodri, centre circle, pokes it square. Reinders forward, O'Reilly looking for the run of Cherki in the area. Cherki across, cleared away by Mavropanos. And booted upfield high and long by Wan-Bissaka. One back by Gehi on the halfway line. West Ham very much on the defensive. Reinders now driving to the edge of the box. Reinders trying to wriggle his way through, can't find Foden, smashed upfield by Mavropanos. Again, there's no outlet for West Ham. 4 minutes remain, plus added time. Foul by Mateus Fernandes. Free kick Manchester City, about 15 yards or so into opposition territory.
They've just got nothing going forwards, West Ham. No outlet at all at the moment. That's one way of managing some of this attacks from City.
And it's so tense and cagey here. Is there going to be any sort of chance for West Ham on the break? Not at the moment, it would seem. Cherki, the number 10, as Manchester City come forward for the umpteenth time. Left to right, Foden scampering forward towards the edge of the D. Phil Foden, what a tackle by Mateus Fernandes, sliding in from nowhere. Cleared upfield towards Traore, headed away only as far as Bowen. Now the home crowd are on their feet. Bowen down the left-hand side. Juve racing to get forward in support. Bowen is blocked off by the tackle of Cherki, of all people.
Well, Bowen should have been able to get past Cherki there. Should have made the most of that. Cherki dived in, really.
Well, are Manchester City's hopes of winning the Premier League on a knife edge here? Cherki. This is TalkSport. It's still 1-1. Reinders. Midway inside the West Ham half. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. Doku goes on the outside, and it must be turned in. No! It stayed out. Foden and Haaland both went for it. Rodri at the near post as well, and none of the three could get a turning touch, gathered by Hermansen.
Oh, you can't give Doku that much space, Wan-Bissaka. Allow him to cross it. 3 Manchester City players. Rodri misses it. Foden misses it. Haaland, there's a touch off a defender. I mean, he scored with everything except the unmentionables, which is just hit him in.
And he's still feeling the effects, Haaland, but he's in the area now. Nunes crosses. There's Haaland. Got his head to it. O'Reilly back to goal. Beaten to it by Magassa, who smacks the ball high into the air. It drops down from almost seemingly level with the floodlights. Bowen and Gehi in a tussle on the far side. Throw goes Manchester City's way. Bowen hops up and down with frustration. West Ham are clinging on now. 1-1 with just over 90 seconds to go. Forward come Manchester City. Cherki tripped by Mateus Fernandes. I thought he was. Yellow card for Fernandes.
Yeah, and he's broken up play so often, Fernandes. He was always due that yellow card. Again, it's not a great position though, is it, for West Ham to have to defend, but defend they have.
Well, this is about 8 yards or so from the edge of the penalty area, well to the right of centre, so it's not on for a shot here from Cherki. West Ham bring everybody back. Pep Guardiola watches on nervously. Little he can do now from the stands. Cherki dinking it in right-footed. Up go the heads. It's drifted behind. Corner, says the referee. And West Ham are furious. They feel it should have been a goal kick. Another corner to Manchester City. Corner number 14, I make it, in the game. We're hearing there'll be 4 minutes of added time. 30 seconds of normal time remain here on Talk Sport. Tiani Reinders will take the corner. This will be right-footed and in-swinging. 2 arms into the air. He drives the ball into the box. Rodri getting up, and Hermansen has gathered it somehow, juggling it up into the air, and he's got to the ball, and he's belted it long straight away up towards Traore, given away by Nunes. Only as far as Bowen. Fernandes holds it up, goes back to Souček, who just scoops it upfield. Anywhere will do for West Ham. Dean Ashton.
Yeah, they haven't got the outlet. But again, the defending, tireless defending from the West Ham players has been superb. And the crowd are involved as well. How big could a goal be now? Both ends of the table.
4 added minutes at the end of the game. Here is Cherki down the right for Manchester City. Cherki pulling it across, cleared away by Mavropanos. Rodri, little touch, Gehi edge of the area. Now Doku, can he find the space for the shot? Whips it in, header away by Mavropanos again. Arsenal are about to get a second big result of the day. In by Nunes. Haaland on the volley. Blocked by Todibo. It'll squeeze out wide. Doku is there. There's a West Ham player gone down in the area. It's Mavropanos. Was he struck in the face by Haaland with that shot? Here come the physios, and the game is stopped just as Manchester City had it in the penalty area.
Well, he has to stop it. If he feels that Mavropanos has taken that full in the face and fallen awkwardly as well, what else can Michael Oliver do? City players, of course, want the play to continue, but it was a vicious volley, wasn't it, from Haaland that really would have tested Hermansen. Mavropanos gets in the way, whether he means it or not, takes the full brunt of that strike.
Well, these are terrifying moments for West Ham fans to watch in the stadium now. They're almost hiding behind their seats. Mavropanos being treated. We are 90 seconds into 4 minutes of added time. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. The Premier League table: Arsenal played 31, 70 points. Manchester City played 30, 61. The two teams meet on the 19th of April. Mahamadou Conte is going to come on for West Ham shortly, the youngster. We think it'll be Bowen coming off. Mavropanos still being treated.
Yeah, and I know we've got fight night coming up. Well, that was like a punch from AJ for Mavropanos, because Haaland hits it so well, it misses Reinders, and Mavropanos is just behind him and doesn't see it, takes it full on the jaw.
And it was his header in the first half to draw West Ham level, and they're heading towards an unlikely point here maybe. Some in the crowd now heading for the exits. 90 seconds of added time to go, but I reckon, Dean, we've got at least 3 minutes here. And, well, Manchester City had possession when the game was stopped. Where are they going to get it back? It looks like towards the edge of the penalty area. So the threat is still very much on. Manchester City on the attack. West Ham trying to protect this 1-1 scoreline in the game. Mavropanos is off the field. The ball is back with Manchester City. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Back to Rodri. Hoisting the cross. Here's Hermansen, and he gathers it high above his head. Bowen's right through the middle if Hermansen can find him. What a throw over the top. Jared Bowen could be clear. Bowen inside the penalty area now. Trying to turn away from Rodri. Held up by Rodri. Back to Fernandes. He lays it square. Wan-Bissaka can't keep it in. And Traore goes across, the flag up on the far side of the field. Not entirely sure why. Free kick Manchester City. Mavropanos back on. 1-1 the score. We're in the 4th minute of added time. Reinders racing up the middle for Manchester City. Out to the left-hand side. Doku now scampering beyond the challenge of Souček. Doku looks up, drills in the cross. Nico O'Reilly, angle tight. O'Reilly, can he pull it back? He's blocked off by Magassa. It's another corner to Manchester City.
Oh, it felt like a big chance for Bowen though, didn't it? Over the top. Kusanov missed it. You thought Bowen was away, just couldn't quite get it under control. And it allowed Rodri back to take the sting out of the attack, and then City go down the other end. It's tense.
15th corner. In by Reinders, into the near post. Gehi got the touch. O'Reilly tried to hit it in, and Gehi puts it over the top. Mark Gehi from 6 yards out, skywards and over the bar. And is that the killer blow in the title race for Manchester City?
Well, Pep can't believe it. And the Manchester City fans can't either behind the goal, because O'Reilly stabs it towards goal. You think that could go in, it hits Mavropanos. It falls to Gehi 6 yards out. Yes, it's bobbling, but there's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't just punch that side-footed into the back of the net. He gets it horribly wrong, and he stabs it up and over Hermansen. Fair play to the goalkeeper. He was out very, very quickly. That did make a difference to Gehi.
Hands to his head for Pep Guardiola in the director's box. 1-1, added time on added time. We've had 5 minutes of added time here. And off goes Bowen to be replaced by Conte, and he gets a standing ovation, the West Ham captain. Well, they could even have won it here, West Ham, but Manchester City really should have won it there and then through Gehi. 9-point gap at the top. Talk Sport bringing you all the twists and turns in the title race. Cleared upfield by Hermansen. We're in the 6th minute of added time. The ball is on the far side. It's smashed upfield by Fernandes for West Ham. Drops down towards the edge of the City penalty area. Headed away by Rodri. Retrieved by O'Reilly down in the left back area. It's a throw to Manchester City, but it's a long way from goal for them. On the night that Pep Guardiola said they had to win, if they dropped points it was all over. West Ham have won it back at the expense of a free kick. Nuno not happy. Free kick Manchester City. Is this the last chance? 6 added minutes have been played. Cherki on the halfway line, rolling it forward to Rodri. Rodri threading the ball down the inside right, cleared away by Diouf. West Ham still having to defend here into the 7th minute of added time. On the right hand side is Foden. The crowd are on their feet. Foden back to Nunes, corner of the area. Nunes delivers. Hermansen gets there again. Good goalkeeping from Hermansen, and he's going to throw it out to Conte. Conte down the right hand side for West Ham. It's 3 against 4. Manchester City have got defenders back, but Conte's going to carry on here. Conte right corner of the penalty area, lays it square. Here is Traore. Traore into the box, tries a shot, blocked. Conte gets to the rebound. Manchester City win it back through Rodri, and still we play on. What a finish to this game. Whistles all around. The referee has had a look at his watch, and that's the final whistle. Most certainly, it's advantage Arsenal in the Premier League title race. West Ham have really hurt Manchester City's title aspirations here, and you can see that by the way Manchester City players have slumped to the floor in disappointment. All around the ground, it feels like a significant moment, maybe the defining moment in the Premier League title race this season. And it's not just that, it's a massive point for West Ham in their fight against relegation. Boy, they had to cling on at the very end there, especially when Gehi turned the ball over the top. But Mavropanos' equaliser, cancelling out Bernardo Silva's opener, ultimately enough to earn West Ham a point that they worked so hard for. And it now means the gap between Manchester City and Arsenal is 9 points. Maybe not even City can overhaul Arsenal from here, and you really cannot help but feel that today was the day the Premier League pendulum swung Arsenal's way. The Manchester City fans applaud their team away to the right hand side. West Ham supporters applaud their side with even greater gusto. West Ham, for their efforts, you feel, deserved a draw, and that's how it's finished. West Ham won, Manchester City won.